Hey guys, today will be a special episode, our first snow day. Join us for some science-based seasonal chats to get us all in the holiday mood. Welcome to VS. Grab your hot cocoa, light up the fireplace, and enjoy some corny holiday jokes.
Hello, guys. Today we are back with a seasonal episode of BS.
Yes.
Woo! No, Gold and I wanted to do something holiday themed because we thought it would be really cute. But we're nerds as always, so of course we have to put our little scientific spin on it. But we've just been enjoying winter break. I am visiting family actually. So I'm in Canada. It's very cold. I've been fighting for my life. Well, yes, it's been so cold. But yeah, and Gold, why don't you talk a little bit about what you've been doing for winter break?
Enjoying my freedom. Okay, like I'm still here in Atlanta. My husband is away at war, but it's all right. Right, it's all right,
My husband, she means me, guys. Like by away at war, she means a 2 hour flight away.
Listen, absence makes the heart grow fonder, but we're here for you guys today for our first ever snow day. And just we just wanted to get in the holiday spirit. Like by the time this comes out, like a lot of holidays will have passed and be kind of close to the new year, but I think it still might be a cute episode for the vibes.
Yeah, we wanted to play a little game with some holiday questions. So firstly, and we'll both answer, but what is your favorite holiday song?
I actually really like the holiday music like they play in the grocery store. I'm not sure if I know my favorite. I think my favorite is like my actual favorite is Silent Night, but I love the like celebrity like holiday songs. Like King and Queen of that to me is like Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, period.
No, I've been said, like, to me, that was when she was solidified as a pop girly. Like, and I was literally telling you earlier, like, bring out an EP for Christmas. That's only right. Like, come on now.
Let's not lose recipes now, like please. Um,
For me, my favorite without a doubt is Santa Baby, specifically the version sang by Eartha Kitt. To me, that song is everything. Like, honestly, I already really like Eartha Kitt just as a person, just as an ideology, but like in terms of just like that song, like it just gives Sex Kitten. It just gives like it's such a good song. She was being a spoiled brat on that track, and I like it. Like, yeah, go ahead and put that deluxe vintage Lamborghini
a
under the
girl telling Miss
thing.
Claus, but it's all right. It's really all right.
Oh, Miss Claus is gonna show like what do you call it? Throw a mistletoe at her. Or throw a
It
candle.
is. I was about to say mistletoe is not what she's trying to throw, but like, let this be a lesson about people who travel for work. Don't put that.
Look out for your mans.
Hey, woman, you never know what they're doing out there. So yeah. So to get into some science, like, actually, I have another question for you.
hmm
What is your favorite like dessert to eat during the holidays? Like, are you a gingerbread cookie girl? Are you a cinnamon roll girl? Like,
This isn't something that you like eat, but it is instead something that you drink, and you're smiling because you already know what my answer is.
go ahead and pull it out for
But
me.
hot cocoa! Like I just specifically during the holiday, like listen, I'm a hot cocoa enjoyer all year long because I believe in enjoyment and pleasure all year long. But I specifically around the holiday times love peppermint hot chocolate specifically. That to me is just like such an elite. Like you like the minute it starts even getting a little bit cold, I'd be in them coffee shops like, yeah, can I please have two pumps of peppermint, please? Thank you.
Oh man, like I think my honestly, this is probably like my favorite candy ever. But for some reason, like I see it like 10 times more during like the holiday season. Is like there's like, like the Ferrero Rocher brand.
Mm,
There's like a white chocolate one covered in coconut. It has a specific name, but I can't remember. But like that version, I think it's like Raffaello. Like I do crazy things for that. Like
oh,
Um, everybody should try
oh,
it at
okay.
least. Everybody should try it at least once, and you won't judge me the way you are right now. Like,
Yeah, this is a safe
I
space.
feel like even if it wasn't, like I gotta be 10 toes down on this one. Like, I'm so sorry. Like,
No, but that's fair. My family loves Ferrero Rocher. And then like you said, during the holiday time, I definitely see an uptick in it. So, all right, last question of the holiday season, because we know that there's like a whole like the latter half of the year is just sprinkled with holidays all throughout. Which one do you think is your favorite?
oh, this is low key a hard question. I don't know if this counts, but I definitely want to choose New Year's, like because I'm just like a lot of like holiday like we're just like a lot of holidays have like other things like attached to it, but I feel like New Year's is just very like a very much like a deep breath for me, especially as somebody who's in like college, like ending the semester. As corny as it is, I do like New Year's resolutions. I do like the feeling of like a great like starting over with everybody else. And also my birthday is very close to New Year's, so it really does feel like a new year to me. Like it does feel like very like refreshing, a time to like look back on like just life in general, especially on the year like past. Like I love a moment of reflection, and I also think you could like celebrate it like multiple ways. Like some people are like in the house, other people like they're turning up, others they got their little New Year's resolutions that like, and some people have like you know superstitions that they want to do. And also like it's like you cross over at night, but it just feels so different that morning when you wake up. Like I feel like everybody's just in like a little bit better. Like
That's real. I feel like that was a very good explanation. To me, yeah, I don't care if it's cliche. I think for me, it will probably be Christmas or New Year's. Like New Year's is definitely, I love all holidays. Like I actually really like Halloween. Like I
mhm.
think I like the minute October hits, I'm always playing Somebody's Watching Me by Michael Jackson and Rockwell. So like Halloween will always have a special place in my heart, but I just feel like what Christmas and New Year's kind of symbolize of like kind of and they're back to back too, which is why I like them because like one holiday you spend a lot of time with your family. It's about appreciating those around you and just kind of appreciating what you have. And then the second holiday is like, okay, like now it's time to look forward to the future. Like one's very present based, like what you have in the moment, and then another is like, okay, to the future and like the person that I'm going to become instead of the person
Mhm.
that I already am. So I like the little
that's
transition.
that's cute.
But yeah, guys, we have done a lot of yapping so far about the holiday season because clearly we're both big holiday people. But now we're going to go into different little scientific facts that correlate. We promise we are not just yappers with no goal.
This is still a science podcast. Like, don't even worry.
So to start, we wanted to think about what is a pressing question that is on everybody's mind during this time of the year, and it's how is a snowflake made? Depending on what area of the world you live in, sometimes you may see snow, sometimes you may not. That might make you happy depending on how you fall, the seasonal wing of things, but at the end of the day, like snow is beautiful. We can at least agree on that. I might not like the cold, but I can at least agree that when it's snowing, it's
Listen,
gorgeous.
until I get new tires for my car, I'm gonna have to be on the y'all can keep it side of snow day discussions. Like
Well, that's real. Like I can't
as a
argue
kid,
that.
I definitely like love the rare times where it would snow in Georgia. Like I like one, we obviously get school off because we do not have the infrastructure to deal with that. And two, it's just like again, like I actually get to make snow angels, like make a snowman, have snowball fights. Like it's not every year. So when it does come, like it was very fun.
No, it's definitely a special moment, especially when you're not used to it. But snowflakes are one of those really cool, really unique things that happen in nature. That's just overall a beautiful thing with no danger. So thank God for that. But so the way that a snowflake is formed is actually, I don't know, it was interesting because I don't think I ever really thought too deep about how snowflakes are formed. But basically, what happens is an extremely cold water droplet freezes in the air onto a sort of pollen or dust particle, and that creates an ice crystal. And then the ice crystal will continue to fall, and what ends up happening is that water vapor will continue to freeze on it, and that'll create more ice crystals that end up building around it, resulting in its shape, which is a six-armed snowflake. And the reason that snowflakes are symmetrical is because they have an internal order within the crystal's water molecules, which is referred to as crystallization. And so that is why they always end up being six arms, which I thought was really cool too. Like just geometrically, how nature kind of worked that out, how like I've never seen a snowflake have more than six arms. And the way they also get their shape, because everybody always says like, oh, each snowflake is like unique and different, but
I don't
basically
know if I believe that.
I literally was telling people, I don't think humans can necessarily confirm that, but the reason why snowflakes can come out looking so different each time, even in a matter of minutes, is literally just due to the fact that the shape of the primary ice crystal that forms, as well as the intricate arms of the snowflake, vary based off of the atmospheric conditions. So that's the temperature at which it's falling, the
Mhm.
humidity, the way the vapor is condensing, even like as it's falling, the way the different rain particles interact with the other water droplets all play a part in how snowflakes end up turning out, which is why they all end up looking unique because they just come about in different conditions. And honestly, there's a very corny pun to be made about how there's a lot like human beings, how we all have a lot of different environmental conditions that makes us who we are, unique.
Well, speaking of human beings, like the snowflakes are not the only thing in the environment that changes depending on the weather. Like one thing that can definitely like ebb and flow is like the thickness of your blood. And the thing is, your blood is made out of three components: plasma, and then there's like a buffy coat, and there is then the hematocrit. So plasma is like majority water. Like there's like proteins and nutrients in it, but the majority of like plasma is just water, and it's about like 55% of your blood. And then there's like the buffy coat, which is only like 1 to 2%. And that's where your leukocytes, which are your white blood cells, are, which help with like your immune response. And then there's the hematocrit, which is made up of your erythrocytes, which is your red blood cells. And that's like dependent 38 to 46% of your blood. And men tend to have like a little bit of a higher hematocrit percentage than women, but your hematocrit percentage can actually like adjust based off of the temperature that you're in. So like studies have shown that for both animals and humans, if you're in a very harsh and cold climate, your body will up its red blood cell count because your red blood cell ha- um, has hemoglobin, which is what like carries the oxygen in your blood. So like in efforts to keep you alive and keep your like oxygen levels up, your blood will sometimes like increase that red blood cell count, and that increase usually causes the blood to be a little bit thicker than usual. So yeah,
Honestly, as somebody who comes from West African lineage,
our
I've
blood everything.
known for a long time that my blood was not built for the cold.
I
Um,
wasn't built for the cold. Like no part of me, not my blood, nothing. Like it was never in the cards for me. I'm sorry.
listen, I find strength in other areas. Okay, like I
Like my uncle moved to Canada, and honestly, that probably changed his entire perspective of winter. Like we were just never supposed to see something like that. Like
how do you think I feel right now? Like I'm suffering. Just like hey,
oh my god,
like
right.
suffering, mais en français. um, but okay, this next question, Gold is ready to get up on her soapbox about
Like listen, speaking of
that
unique
theme.
humans, speaking like in the light of Wicked coming out, like we want to speak
Oh,
of
here
unique
we go.
humans. Like let's bring up the Grinch.
Oh my.
And before we even get into this, he really a villain? Like, are you born wicked or do you become it? Like, justice for green characters, okay? Like, justice for people who are getting bullied because they're green, okay? Like, I don't know. And particularly the Jim Carrey Grinch, like, no, y'all tried him. I'm sorry. I would have did the same. I would have did worse. But something that me and Leon were thinking about was like, is the Grinch his species? Like, is he Grinch or is that like his race? Like, that's a Grinch man. Like, I don't know. Like, some people were saying like that's his job, and I'm like, it's definitely more than that. Like, or is that his name? And I'm like,
Relegating that just
possibly.
to his occupation is a bit crazy. But before we go further, because I
Like,
know
he didn't
we'll
even
have plenty to
have the
add.
job yet. He was just born like that.
Child. The little Grinch is so cute to me. But he used to just be mad. Anyways, but so yeah, we wanted to decide is it his species or his race? Keep in mind, so like species is a taxonomic classification. It's actually the most specific that you can get. So for example, like Homo sapiens, like we're a species, but there's like family, there's archaea, like it can go on and on. And basically, it's just used to describe a population of organisms where mating can produce fertile offspring. So that if you get with another human being, you can produce another human being versus like you can't get with other creatures. At least I hope y'all aren't getting with other creatures, but moving on. So but at the same time, sometimes there aren't enough genetic or physical differences that can lead to different species categorization, even if there isn't or is an ability to interbreed. So an example of this is the Neanderthals, which for some reason were consistently being compared to as Homo sapiens.
Some
Like
reason.
uh, but on the other hand, race is a social and cultural categorization. Like, it's important to keep in mind that race is completely made up. There is no actual biological encoder for race, which is why it just varies. Like, it can vary depending on the environment you're in and individuals' identities and kind of their experiences in society, which I mean, the Grinch obviously has his very own specific experiences. And because of the way history works, it's so dynamic and consistently evolving. Perspectives and perceptions are continuously shifting of what race is. A good example could potentially be like Ashkenazi Jews during like the 1940s when the Holocaust was going on. There are other examples, but like certain groups that might not have previously been classed of a certain race, like that kind of shifting, especially as power is monopolized as well. But that is a video for another time.
A
Now,
different
Gold, I'll turn it over to you because I know you
yeah.
have your feelings.
Yeah, and to add on to what you said, even a lot of the quote unquote genetic differences that we do see, and we do see like an increased amount of like maybe a certain disease or a certain like trait with like genotypical trait in a race can be due to one, bottlenecking, or two, because we organized race heavily based on phenotype, like genotype kind of went with that also, and also region had to do with that also, but we are still all one race, guys. Now with the Grinch, it's difficult because at first I was like thinking it was a race thing just because of how poorly they treated him, and I was like, I can tell you allegory for that, but like now I'm just like, I personally think that he's just a different species. Again, Jim Carrey Grinch, I just want to keep it like real specific and work off of that. One, in terms of mating, we're just gonna have to keep that like book closed because I don't know what he was doing with Martha May Whovier at the end of that movie. However, like at first I was like, he's a quite anthropomorphized character, like he's bipedal, he has front facing eyes, and like his intelligence level and his capacity to speak like a human language. I was like, okay, maybe he might be human, but then I'll look at certain clips of him like being a baby and like chomping on that glass plate of Santa and just be like, like that was so good. I was like, yeah, my friends can't even eat a cinnamon roll without having bubble guts. So I was like, maybe he has some
What
like
was the question that you're trying to talk about?
Ileana look inward, but like,
Oh,
yeah, like
oh, so we're throwing shots. So we're throwing shots. Don't worry. I will say
real
something
is real.
nasty
Facts are
Unprovoked at
facts.
another time. Keep this in mind.
But
Hold
yeah,
this.
I was
Hold
just
hold
like,
space for this. Hold space for this. Because it will be returning.
see, and this is what I mean by the bullying of green characters. But anywho, yeah, I was just like, there got to be something different with his like GI tract, something different with his like mouth or teeth or something. Because I'm just like, okay,
Or something.
or
Mind you, have you
something
seen the
like.
Grinch? Like,
Because I'm just like he has like many phenotypical like differences like in comparison to the average human in terms of his color, obviously, like his GI tract, um, his hair, like there's just definitely a lot of things going on, or
I
even
mean,
to
he
the average
literally grows
food, you
fur.
know?
He literally grows fur. Like,
Yeah, he's definitely not your average Who. So I was just like, maybe in the context of Whoville, I do think Grinch would be somebody like a Homo Neanderthal. Wow, let me not even do all that. Neanderthals, or somebody like Denisovans, where it's just like you may be from like the same like family like Homo, but you're not necessarily specifically a Who. Like he might have been a surviving animal that had a intelligence level that could have been akin to a Who, but not necessarily have been a Who himself. And I'm just like, like I wonder if we would have had something similar if like Neanderthals or Denisovans would have like survived like long enough for us to like develop some of like the social like things that we did end up developing as humans. Like I feel like we would have been treating him like the Grinch. Like look at the way we treat our own. But yeah, I think
I
me and my
wouldn't care to
species.
see that. To be real. Also, yeah, the Grinch never gave who. I'm sorry. Whoa, okay. Like after you just talked about the different species,
I'm
like,
just like, what if a Who is a state of mind? Like they allowed him to do
all
things where
right.
like okay, all
Okay.
right. So it's like they allowed him to
It's
be a
giving
little like.
who is the friends that we made along the way.
I mean, that's what the Who's were saying. They were like, he's a Who. Like they invited him to the little jubilee and everything. They were like, a Who is somebody who cares about Christmas, who cares about this, who cares about that. Like maybe it was a state of mind. Maybe a Who was a race. Maybe it was a what. Maybe it was like a how. Maybe it was a when. Like maybe it was like an ethnic group. Like I don't know. Like maybe it was a nationality. Like I'm not even sure if Who was their species. I'm not even sure if Who's are human either because like I've never seen a nose like that. So, but that's me.
Do you do wedding?
Like
I love how passionate this gets you.
I'm
Um,
just saying, like, it's easy to point this finger to him, like, is the Grinch a species, but like what are even the Who's? Like if the Who is their nationality, what's that? Because that's not human either. Like
and one day we'll ask the animator, even though he's probably 6 feet in the ground right now. But last topic, which guys, I'm very excited to talk about. This is something that, well, don't shake your head. This is something that just like, wow, like this is such an eternal truth. I'm glad that there is science backing this up. I was going to claim this regardless, but it's always great to have peer-reviewed research on your side. Pro tip. So, you guys. Drinking hot cocoa makes you a happier person. Everybody, let's clap! Woo! Like honestly, I'm living proof. Drinking hot cocoa just makes you happier, and that's because it contains a variety of different chemicals that just make you happier. So, for example, there's tryptophan. That's an amino acid that's a precursor to the neurotransmitter serotonin, and everybody knows that serotonin makes you feel good. There's also tyrosine, which is a dopamine precursor. Dopamine also makes you feel very good, and that's also in chocolate. And then there's a variety of different serotonin, dopamine, and different endorphins, and those are contained in cocoa and then also in chocolate. And those all help contribute to kind of the trifecta of appetite, reward, and mood regulation. And Listen, here's the thing. Like the whole like serotonin and dopamine increasing thing can kind of be a myth because the protein concentration needs to be around 2% for you to actually be able to see noticeable effects, but chocolate is around 5%. So, think.
Yeah, I was like, not to be, a Grinch or Scrooge and like rain on your parade, but like be like connections with like hot chocolate or just chocolate in general and tryptophan is a bit flimsy. However, like it still works like with the endorphin content, like with chocolate. And it's been shown to have like comforting and analgesic effects, like especially when you're in like a stressed like state of mind. So, if you're still somehow going through finals, or if you're just traumatized for what you just went through, have a cup of hot cocoa, be in the spirit, be in the mood.
That'll always be my choice. Yeah, like ooh, like at the end of the day, like how can you not like hot cocoa? Like it's
You
hot.
didn't even have any to show us. Like that cup was empty, babe. But
You know what? Like that's proof. And you see how I'm happy. You see how I am in a good mood all the time. Like exactly that. Like if I should be anything, I am living proof, guys. Okay, I am our own experiment, and I can tell you very much so that hot cocoa does make you a happier person. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
well, guys, like enough of our yapping for real. Like that was it for our first snow day. I hope you enjoyed our little facts. And hearing me get on my soapbox about the Grinch and Ileana get on her soapbox about hot cocoa.
Is it a soapbox or is it me just being real?
Well, depending on the data, I'm not even sure it could be the
Okay.
latter.
All right. Hate her. Boo.
Okay, guys.
But
So that's it for this episode. Please tune in the next 2 weeks for our next one. And it was nice to have y'all here today for our special holiday episode. And bye.
bye.